Alrighty, so here we are on Lesson 12, Summarize Numerical Sets of Data. So this is the last of the statistics package, and that means we're going to use everything that we've done in these last two topics. So if you look in the box, it gives you all of the definitions for mean, median, mode, range, interquartile range, deviation from the mean, and the mean absolute deviation. So we're going to use all of those to describe and organize sets of data. So if you look at the opening exercise, they give you the ages of lower level corporate executives. Before I have you work on number 1, I want you to cross off the 65 and make it a 61. Okay. So after doing that, I want you to pause and do number 1 for me. So you're going to find the mean, median, mode, and then unpause when you're ready to check your answers. Alright, so to find the mean, if you added up all the numbers, you'd end up with 1,080, and we have 27 numbers, so we divide by 27, so your mean would be 40. Now to find the median, we have 27 numbers, so if we divide by 2, we get 13.5. So the 14th value is our median, which would be 40. And then our mode is also 40. So before we move on, I also want to find Q1 and Q3. So we have 13 numbers to choose from, so 13 divided by 2 is 6.5. So the 7th value is our Q1. So if we counted 7, you would end up at 36. So 36 is Q1. And then for Q3, same thing. If you count in 7, 43 would be your Q3. Alright. So now we can go on to the next page, and it asks you to draw a dot plot of the data. So if you look back at the table, we're just going to count by 5s, starting with 25, 30, 35, oh sorry, starting with 20. I knew I was missing something. Alright, so 20, 25, and we need to go all the way up to 60, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, and then 60. So I want you to pause the video again, fill in the dot plot, and then check your answers when you unpause. Alright, so this is what your dot plot should look like. We've drawn many of these, so make sure you check and make sure you've got the right number of dots in each spot. And now they're asking us to draw a box plot of the data. So again, we're going to count by 5, starting with 20. So 20, 25, so the same labels as above. And 60. And this is why we found the Q1 and Q3 from earlier. So we know the min, the smallest number, if we look from above, is 23. The max is 61. The median is 40. Q1 was 36. And Q3 was 43. So we're going to go ahead and fill those in now. So minimum, 23 gets a dot. Our maximum is 61, and that gets a dot. Our median is 40, that gets a line. Then we have Q1, which is 36, that gets a line. And then 43 finishes out our box. So here is our box plot. Oh, that wasn't very straight. Okay. So now it says to find the measures of variability. So that means we're finding the range, the IQR, the deviation, and the MAD. So the range, if we take the maximum, which was 61 minus 23, our range would be 38. Our interquartile range, Q3, is 43 minus Q1, which is 36, and that gives us 7. So now deviation from the mean, we're going to have to make our own little table over here. So you're going to need 3 columns. You're going to need the numbers, you're going to need the deviation, and the absolute deviation. Okay, so I'm going to list out the numbers, I'm going to call them out, and you need to write these in this spot to the right here. So 23, 35, 35, 36, 36, 36, 36, 37, 37, 38, 39, I'm going to squeeze in down here, and we're going to go just to 40, and you'll see why in a second. So now if we do the deviations, remember our mean from the other page was 40. So if we go to do the deviations, 40 minus 23, this would be negative 17. This would be negative 5, negative 5, negative 4, negative 4 for all the 36s, negative 3 for the 37s, negative 2 for the 38, negative 1 for the 39, and then a 0 for the 40. So now if we do our absolute deviations, we'd have 17, 5, 5, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, and 0. So if we add all these up, if you took the time to add them up, I'll just tell you it's 52. So you ask, why did we stop at 40? Why don't we keep going? Well, we know that the other half of the data would also have to have an absolute deviation of 52. So to do the deviation from the mean, we would have negative 52 plus positive 52, which gives us 0. Now if we do the mean absolute deviation, we add up the absolute deviation. So we'd have 52 plus 52, which gives us 104. And remember, you divide by the amount of numbers, which is 27. So our mean absolute deviation is 3.9. Okay. So now these questions at the bottom, 5 says, which measure of center would be best to use to describe the data? So measure of center meaning like mean, median, mode, all of them, because they were all the same. Alright, and then which measure of variability would be best to use? And for this one we would say the MAD, because it tells you that the numbers are pretty close together, which is true. Okay, so that's all we're going to do for these notes. We're going to skip that back page, and then we'll do some practice in class tomorrow.